Do we see anything yet?
Oh, it's on.
Welcome to Welcome to Small Business Celebration Meat and Potatoes Live. Yes, this is episode 1 of our live show. So yes, there's bound to be bumps and along the road as we figure out this brand new technology. Yes, on the normal show we go through and we tape it and record it and edit it, but when you're live, yeah, you don't have that opportunity. But this is Small Business Celebration Meat and Potatoes, where we do a deep dive with our guests, and it's something that they do well. Also, that you can learn something that you can use today to grow a strong and profitable business and get your next big breakthrough. And we couldn't do this show without our sponsors, and we're here at Select Business Systems.
Yes, we are.
Go with the ad. There we go. All right. Take your business to the next level of productivity and performance with a visit to Select Business Systems of Bakersfield. They create innovative solutions by leveraging their experienced industry knowledge to deliver meaningful results with printers, copiers, document storage, digital displays, and message boards, all with a reliable, responsive, knowledgeable, and courteous service and support you need to help your business be successful. Call Select Business Systems at 661-397-2100 or check out their website at sbsofbak.com today. That's Select Business Systems at 661-397-2100 or check out their website at sbsofbak.com today. Now, with us from Select Business Systems is Richard Luker. Welcome to Small Business Celebration Meat and Potatoes.
Thank you.
And tell Visioneer Nation a little bit about what Select Business Systems can do for their business.
Yeah, here at SPS, we help customers with actually small to large businesses, so B2B, B2C, with everything technology. So if it has a blinking light and a cord, we help them with it,
Sure.
Such as dynamic displays for their business. Multifunctional printers, laptops and such. And what we do is we leverage that technology to make their offices more productive and efficient.
So it's more than just reams and reams of paper. It's
Yes.
all digital, all things digital today.
Yes.
And if Visioneers want to learn more about what you have to offer them, how do they reach out and get in touch with you?
You know, they can reach out, call the office, 661-397-2100, or they can look us up on the web at, as you said, sbsofbak.com. And which, by the way, I got to say, Michael, thank you, because we are big supporters of Small Business Celebration.
Well, and thank you for allowing us to come into your shop, because, you know, Tim Murphy, the owner,
Yes.
and everything that you guys are doing is absolutely fantastic, and definitely we appreciate your support, and we're glad you're fans too. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And with that, we can't do this show without our presenting sponsor, which comes from Oliver and Associates. Let's see. It's our first show. Give me a break. Okay. Okay. At Oliver & Associates Real Estate, we know that buying and selling a home isn't just a transaction. It's a life moment. That's why they're committed to building relationships that last. They take the time to truly understand your needs, your dreams, your stories, so they can find you not just a house, but a home. For Oliver & Associates, it's all about people, not properties. They're here to guide, support, and celebrate you with every step of the way. Give Oliver Associates a call at 661-808-3444 or check them out at kevinoliver.exprealty.com today. That's Oliver & Associates, 661-808-3444 or check them out at kevinoliver.exprealty.com today. And with us is our first guest on the first episode. Who else better than Kevin Oliver of Oliver & Associates? Welcome to Meat and Potatoes.
Awesome, thank you. And you can also see us at yourrealtor.us.
Really?
Yes.
Now, one of the reasons why we started this live show is because we've been getting a lot of feedback from visionaries just like you who have been sending us questions through LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. We appreciate your questions for the main show, and they're great questions. But one of the things that often happens is we get questions about, well, could he have or she have spoken more about this? Could they have spoken more about that? And with a half-hour show that we have on the main show, we just don't have the time to go into deep detail, the meat and potatoes, the deep dive, to get into that. And fortunately, Kevin Oliver happens to have the answer or be doing one of the things that many visionaries just like you have been asking about, which is how to teach leadership to your team in another city. Yes, a lot of businesses are growing, a lot of businesses are developing, but how do you develop a business and how do you develop a culture where you don't have to be there, be able to have it be successful? And that is what Kevin is doing.
I am.
So for visionaries who don't know who you are and what is it that you do?
Oh, my name is Kevin Oliver. I am the team lead and a broker, a real estate broker here in Kern County. I run a team in San Luis Obispo County. I also have a very small team in Denver, Colorado.
Wow, not just
He didn't
on the
even know
coast,
that as well.
but on the state.
And I do have one realtor that is in Florida
Wow.
as well. But yeah, it's but who I am really, I've been a realtor for over a decade.
Wow.
I've been in the business almost over 20 years.
Right?
So, and I run a very successful team here in Bakersfield, and then on the coast as well as my two main teams.
What prompted you to want to expand outside the confines of Bakersfield?
Oh gosh, so many reasons. One of, my wife and I had always talked that we wanted to go to the coast. I originally am from the coast.
Okay.
And I did want to go back, and that was one of the things. I'm getting a little older in years, a little
Right.
grayer in the temple,
Right.
and there's sometimes that I do want to go back. But the main thing is I enjoy teaching. And so back in 2019,
Right.
well, actually before that, it was probably 16, 17, I wanted to expand my business. I had in real estate, you have ups and downs. I wanted to be able to, like any good business person, is to flatten out that roller coaster and then just keep growing.
So that when 2008 hits you,
Yes, I still have PTSD. But I wanted to expand out to the coast because I had already been a national coach. I was coaching nationally for a gentleman named Ricky Caruth, which is big in our industry, a national speaker, and there's a whole story on that as well we can
Right.
get into. But I became one of his coaches, myself and about 10 others nationally. And I said, you know what? I said, I think I want to start, expand out. So eventually, when I do want to suck margaritas on the beach,
right?
that I'll be able to still have a small business or whatever. And so thus the idea of expanding to another city happened. And I started putting the figures together and just the normal business stuff.
Right.
What do we need? What is the structure we're going to need? What kind of management are we going to need? And that was one of the key things. What management do we need?
Well, and that's the key right there, is that it's, for a lot of business owners, trying to find quality employees alone is difficult. And a lot of business owners sit there and they think that they have to babysit or micromanage their employees as it is. And let alone trying to set somebody up in Florida or Denver or on the coast. How did you go through and, first of all, how did you figure out what the business was going to look like so that you could find the right kinds of people?
Lots of trial and error.
Okay, sure, right, yeah.
First. But initially, I started taking a look at all sorts of different setups. I mean, I looked at Keller Williams, I looked at Coldwell Banker, I looked at all sorts of different private ones. How are theirs? And then I started looking at national teams.
So
how did they work?
So you were looking within your industry.
Yeah, analyzing.
And looking at who was doing it well in their own industry.
Correct.
Okay.
And I don't like to remake the wheel, but I did
Right.
in certain cases. And prior to being in real estate, I was in IT. I was in project management,
Right.
Technical project management. I was a Six Sigma black belt with GE,
Right.
and which people are like, what?
No, it's not a martial art. No.
So it's all about process management.
Right.
So I was very good at process management.
Right.
So I designed the processes for each of our realtors. Now you got to remember, these are not employees.
Right.
They're 1099.
Oh, they're independent contractors.
independent
So you're
contractors.
herding cats.
Oh, absolutely. It's like Congress. But I am herding cats, and you have to keep that motivation up. as well as have good leadership in place. And that's what took me a long time to find.
Well, and let's explore that a little bit, because one of the things is you figured out structure, which is very
Yeah, the
important.
processes and the structure to be able to make the business run.
Right. The next part is saying, okay, what's the kind of person do I need? How did you flush that out?
Oh gosh, I actually wrote down, what the top priorities that I needed. I needed somebody with at least 10 years of industry experience. I wanted somebody with investment background, that had worked with investors. I wanted somebody that was able to speak or teach in a way, was not afraid to get up in front of a group and say, okay, this is what we need to do, this is where we're going, and let me help you.
You do realize you're asking for a six-figure income person.
Absolutely.
And this didn't scare you?
No.
Okay, why not?
So a good friend of mine that even before I became a realtor or he became a realtor,
Right.
we were friends.
Ah.
And we were both in the investment world together. And so I went, and then both of us became realtors. And he was a past president of one of the boards. And so he had a lot of managerial experience, as well as he was still running. And he had changed brokerages a couple of times. So and I talked to him, and it took me 3 years to recruit him.
Oh, okay. All right, sure. Right, yeah.
But I said, hey, I have this idea. come sail with me.
Right, sure.
So we did. And it started, actually, it was going to start in April of 2019. I was all ready to go over and join this other board, get it going. We had all the layouts going. We were ready to go, and COVID hit.
Nice. Just in the nick of time.
Yes.
How nice.
So that kind of put the caboose on that for about 3 years, maybe 4, because in 2023, things, were really starting to get back to normal at that point. And I talked to my dear friend Mario, which is my
Okay,
partner
right,
now.
sure. Right.
And I said, let's go. All right, let's go. We're going to go in 24.
Okay.
And he said, all right, let's do that. And so we put the plans together. I put him in place. I said, I want you to start recruiting.
And that's the next part, because in the world of sales,
Yeah.
step one is learning how to sell. The second step,
Well, I wouldn't say to sell, because I don't sell anybody.
that's
You
true.
have to have how to have a conversation,
Right,
how
exactly.
to build a relationship.
You're absolutely right. But that's the first step.
Yes.
The second step is being able to teach somebody else how to sell.
Correct.
The third
Or
step,
create relationships.
exactly.
Yeah.
The third step is being able to teach that person on how to teach. And so that's where you're at now, is
Yeah.
you've gone through and you've helped somebody learn how to sell. You're now at this point teaching them how to help other people. How did you go through that process?
Oh gosh, you have to take a look at the different personalities, and I'm a religious person. I believe that when you pray on something, you believe in something, God is going to bring you that person. And I've taken a look at he brought me Mario.
Right.
I'm not going to say the name of this other person,
Right.
but he has another young lady that I'm working on right now.
Right.
That I'm mentoring, and I'm mentoring her more into a leadership position now. And this is going to take several years. This doesn't happen
So this doesn't happen overnight.
No.
Okay, all right.
This doesn't happen overnight.
Sure.
Unless you go outside your realm to bring somebody in. If you want to create from within, it takes time, and especially in our industry. So,
When you go through and, well, let me rephrase it differently on this, is that you've gone through and you've achieved that third level of having somebody teach somebody else and how to grow. You mentioned this took you years
yes.
to do. And this is in an industry that already has manuals on how to do this, that, and the other thing. What recommendations do you give to other business owners who are not necessarily in real estate, but are trying to figure out how to fashion their own program to do what you did?
Well, I think, number one, you need to look at yourself. Do a deep dive in yourself. What skills do I have? What skills do I not have? What skills can I bring in to help my business? And from there, when you have a strong footprint, now how do I duplicate this? And I don't like reinventing the wheel. Let's just duplicate that. And that's what I'm doing on my other city.
Did you learn the finer parts of this by associating with other groups of people outside of your industry?
Absolutely.
Like who?
There has been a lot of business leaders here within our town here, as well as outside, and people within our industry and outside our industry. I've always been a big networker. I like to go to different networking groups, and we'll have coffee, and we talk about, and there's a number of us that'll sit down and we'll talk about, well, what's going on in your business? Oh, we have this financial situation. And then all of us business owners will try to solve that problem or work with, okay, this is my idea. And we do a roundtable on that. And that's how you can learn from other business leaders. And I think absolutely we have to network with our other business leaders. And that's why I love this channel. It's got great people that talk.
Thank you. So says the guy that's now
No,
on
not
4
me.
times.
That is four times now. Producer Emily, that's 4.
You're winning. You're winning.
Well, that brings us to the fortune cookie game. And bringing us to the fortune cookie game, it's really a very simple game. What we have is a fortune cookie. And the way the game works is that our guest, Kevin, has to take this fortune. He has to open the bag, break open the fortune, and go through and read the fortune and add "in my business" at the end of the fortune.
Do I read it now?
Oh, absolutely. Go right ahead. We would prefer, of course, if you were eating the fortune cookie.
Well, now on my keto diet.
Oh, there we go. All right. And what does the
And I
fortune
don't
cookie
have my
say?
glasses on, but I'm going to read this anyhow. Oh, this is interesting. The land of sunshine and relaxation awaits you in my business.
Nice. Okay, so let's take that fortune and how does that work?
Well,
for your
you
business?
know that I did expand to the coast.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm getting ready to have margaritas on the beach.
Right.
So there's my relaxation.
There you go. And
So,
Sunshine's Florida.
Yeah, Florida,
See,
absolutely.
you're
There we
destined
go.
for
Well, we
greatness.
are in sunny California, too.
That is true. That is true. That is true. Even in the winter in Bakersfield when it's foggy, it's
Yes,
still.
but you know what's really neat is that you go past Taft, you get right over into those flats, and it's usually beautiful over there.
EAKC?
Oh, and 1 second, people.
First episode, we're still learning things. I also wanted to let Visionaire Nation know the Executive Association of Kern County has got their annual trade show coming up on January 30th at Stockdale Country Club. It's going to be a wonderful event where you get to go around and socialize with business owners. We're going to be having 3 major speakers that are going to be there. AJ Anton Giovanni of Mission Bank is going to be talking about the financial outlook of business. We've got Scott Garrison of Planned Exits who's going to be talking about how to strategies for exiting your business so that even if you're Emily's age and you've got a business, the best way to figure out how to exit is start planning now. And we're also going to have Johnny Baclini talking about his growth. He's a guy that escaped the Civil War in war-torn Lebanon, came to Bakersfield. He now owns more than 40 restaurants in 3 states. And this is a story you absolutely don't want to miss. If you want tickets, go ahead and message us and LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. We can get you tickets. They're free. And but the event is on January 30th at Stockdale Country Club. It's an event you definitely don't want to miss. Now, one of the things that's been happening over the last season season 6 of Small Business Celebration, mostly to visionaries who don't know, unless they've been a guest on the show, is producer Emily has been in the background. And she is sitting there very diligently, paying attention to everything. And she's gone through and she's come up with some of the most amazing questions for the show. In fact, there's been numerous times on the show where I have just cut my questions out, put her questions in, and the show's so much better. And because of that, we have gone through and we now have given Emily her own segments. Yes, the person who is 180 degrees opposite of me in personality, age, and a whole variety of different things. Her perspective is absolutely fantastic. And now it's time for the Questions by Emily segment. All right.
I do.
And now it's Questions by Emily.
Hello, everyone. I guess I can speak now, and you can hear my mic. Hopefully you can. If you can, let me know in the comment section. But do I need to do in the ad first or no?
Yes, we're going straight.
We're going to go into the ad. We are sponsored today by Cazador Consulting Group. If you are hunting for top-tier talent for your business, look no further than Cazador Consulting Group. Their mission is to deliver world-class staffing and direct hire services by truly listening to your needs. At Cazador Consulting, it's not just about fulfilling positions, it's about creating a culture of mutual success for both candidates and clients. With unmatched customer service and a commitment to earning your trust, they're redefining the staffing industry one placement at a time. Ready to experience the future of staffing? Visit CazadorConsultingGroup.com or call them at 877-800-4622. That's CazadorConsultingGroup.com or call them at 877-800-4622, and let's build your legacy together. Okay, so are you ready to get grilled?
Sure. And I love Lisette. She is so awesome.
She really
is. One of
is.
the business leaders that I really go to and talk with her, and is a dear friend, and she'll give you an honest answer as well.
Oh, she
And I
will.
love that.
And she's on our show next week.
She is. You got to, folks. You got to go listen to that one. That's
Yes,
a good one.
tune into that one. Well, we actually had a comment from the comment section here first. And I'm going to ask it. It's from John Collins. Do you know John?
Not off the top of my head. Oh, wait. Go ahead.
We'll see. He'll make himself known. Does Kevin have any thoughts on when it's appropriate to end a work relationship?
End a work relationship.
Yeah, and you just kind of talked about how you've got to train some people and let
You
some
talking
people
about a
go.
business relationship, or well, we don't have
A work relationship. I'd say, when is it time to fire an employee, or when is it time to get a new business partner?
That is probably one of the hardest things as a boss, and I've had to do it before. And I see a lot of times, because I do have an employee, but I don't have employees mostly because most of mine are 1099.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times I've had to cut them from the team because they're not producing a lot of times, or they're not working into what the business model would be. At that point, then I say, hey, maybe this just isn't working for you.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we need to look for greener pastures. And I do it professionally, and I will pull them into a private room or go for a cup of coffee where it's just on a one-on-one basis. I never want to ever and embarrass them or anything, or belittle them in any way. And I always want to try to support and say here and educate and say, let's see what we can do better. It just may not be here. But some of the signs are, and what I have seen in the past is just not being within the team, not working with the team, not showing up. I call it, life other happens. They start prioritizing other things besides their work.
Yeah. So then that kind of brings me into the next question I had for you. But you talked about how you bring people in, you have to train them. You're training people right now. So at what point do you go from training people and having patience, because you have to learn patience with these people, to then letting them go? What's the line between being patient as a business owner and being inconsistent's not the word, but what would the word be, Michael?
Productive.
Yeah.
Well, we track numbers constantly. So I know every week they have to put in their numbers on how many calls did they make, how many follow-up calls did they make, how many, if they did an open house, or if they did door knocking, how many doors did they knock. There's all sorts of metrics that we track. And if they're just not doing any of that, I sit down with them and say, take a look at your numbers. What's going on here? Can you tell me what's happening?
Yeah, so it's the
And
difference.
they almost
between
answer it themselves a lot of times. Or they'll say, you know what, I'm having, and they're going to, I have problems, or I had my, this happened, or family matters happened. My sister-in-law told me I had to go shopping with her, whatever. I broke an eyelash. I've heard them all.
Gosh, interesting.
And they actually come up to the solution sometimes that, hey, maybe this isn't for them.
So that's the difference between the patience and the
Yeah.
being productive in your own business. Which, oh, by the way, I was corrected in the comments. Kevin Collins is Dave Collins.
Oh, yes, I know Dave Collins.
We love you, Dave.
I do know Dave.
Yes.
I was going to say, who's this other guy? There's only one Dave Collins, and he's awesome.
Yeah. And hello to Joel and Eva. Thanks for tuning in as well. So you also talked about how you have, you're wanting to get steady. You have some really high highs and some really low lows. What are some of those super high highs that you've had and some of those super low lows?
Oh gosh. When you sell a multi-million-dollar home is a pretty good high.
Sure. Yeah.
But you know what? Another low that I had was when COVID hit. That was tough because I remember I think I had probably 5 or 6 escrows going on at the time. 5 of the 6 canceled.
Wow.
Fell out of escrow. I had probably about 10 listings at the time. 90% of them canceled. And then I had a number of buyers that were said, no, we're holding off. So basically 98% of my business stopped.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
And then for about 2 months. And then after that, everything went crazy. So that was pretty, back in 20 and 21, us realtors were extremely busy. So,
Right.
But which was a great high at that point. But yeah.
So I've always
But
wondered.
but let me go back to it. I'd have to say when we can see, we have different realtors at different steps right now. I'm mentoring one right now that hasn't taken her exams yet. She's not a realtor yet. And we're still mentoring her to take her exams.
Wow.
And I had a couple of them that just took their exams this last year. And what really makes me happy is when they get it. And they come in, they make that first sale, they get that first yes, and they open that escrow, and their smiles are like this, and my smile's like, yes, because I know we helped them. And that's a high.
That is a pretty good high. So I've always wondered, this is always interesting, but as a realtor, you're working to try to get one sale. And then when you finally get that sale, what's the first thing you do to celebrate? Because you got to have some kind of celebration, right?
Yeah,
when you
wine.
finally get this wine.
Well, everybody knows I drink wine. I love my wine. I'm a sommelier. And but yes,
A level 2, right?
I'm level 2 right now. Level 3, hopefully this year.
How many
It's
levels
one of
are
my
there?
goals. There's 4.
There's 4. Okay, you're getting
Yes.
there. That's the first thing. So, and I would be remiss, because I've heard one of the low lows was the machete story.
Oh,
I've heard this story. It's something about a machete.
a machete story.
I don't know. You can make up the story for all we care.
This
We
one
are
really
live.
happened. This one really happened. Well, basically, I guess it's not really a realtor story. It's a real estate story.
Sure.
I had purchased a couple of buildings in a not so good part of the areas on Balboa, South H area. South H and what is that? White Lane down there, I think. But there's a little street called Balboa. It has a lot of fourplexes. I had purchased a couple of them over there, and went ahead and went in, and we always inspect the buildings, and we get them to go in and see what kind of rehab do we have to do, what kind of carpet, and everything else. Well, this had been a board up. It was a bank repo. We bought it from the bank. And I went into one of the first apartments, and I had a buddy with me, one of my contractors, and I pushed the door open, and it almost falls off. But it was pretty dark in there, and so my buddy walks in first, and it's a living room with a wall, and then it goes into a little kitchenette, and on the other side of that wall is the kitchen. Okay, a little galley kitchen. And then to the left, as you walk in the door, is a long hallway, 2 bedrooms, and then a bathroom at the end of the hallway.
Oh.
It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartment in this fourplex. So I open up the door, my friend walks in, I follow in behind him, I have my notepad in hand, and my friend goes over, he's got his flashlight, it's kind of dark in there, and he looks in there, and he says, hey, the bottoms are okay, and I'm writing, needs carpet, need paint, maybe uppers, this and that. I'm making notes, and I hear something down the hallway.
Oh.
And I'm looking down there, and all of a sudden, this guy pops out of the last bedroom,
Oh.
looked like a Dallas Cowboy linebacker. I'm telling you, and I drop everything, and he's saying, what are you doing in my house?
Oh.
And I drop everything, and I'm like, and I'm going like this. I said, excuse me, sir, we just bought the building, we're just inspecting, I don't mean to bother you. And he says, oh, I don't, and he said some choice words we cannot say here.
No, because we're live.
He starts coming down the hallway with a machete.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh no! So I grab my firearm. I hold a CCW. I grab my firearm, backing up, and I said a few choice words. And he stops. Because he was saying get out of his house. He stops. He's holding his machete. Now my friend has pulled his 45.
Oh.
So this guy's got two 45s pointing at him now.
Ew.
And
That's a situation.
so he stops about halfway. He looks at us. He looks at his machete. He looks back at us. And at that time, I'm like, now you get blankety blank out of my house. And he goes, yes, sir. Drops his machete and he walks out.
Now, the real question is, where'd he find the machete?
I don't know. I don't care. But I had to change my shorts after that.
I think I would too.
There's the machete story.
Maybe a glass of tea to wind down with that too. We have this. Can we have one more question from the
Sure.
comments? Okay, last question from the comment section, and then I have a little game.
Oh,
Ha, ha, ha.
good Lord. Do we have any online still? Or?
We do. Well, I'm going to put two questions in one. How about that?
Perfect.
So, how do you build authentic relationships, especially with like the next 6 to 12 months of the market? So where you see this next 6 to 12 months of the market going,
That's a good question.
and then how do you build relationships to help people? Because some people are going to be buying, some people are going to be
Absolutely.
selling, but what do you foresee is going to
In regards
happen?
to the market, Kevin's crystal ball. Okay, well, last year was a very, very tough year. 40% down in transactions. High interest rates, high inflation, economy stinks. But we still sell. We were selling stuff in 2008 still, remember? So even
Yeah.
in a bad year, we still sell. But this year, I think, and over the next couple of years, we're going to see interest rates trickle down slowly. I think this year, starting this year, as realtors, we're going to be very productive. I think, and it's all about business relationships, not business, but personal relationships. And I always say relationships over transactions.
Yeah.
So if we build that relationship, I don't want to be just your realtor. I want to be your realtor, your brother's realtor, your mother's realtor, your cousin's realtor. And that happens a lot. You become their family realtor
Yeah.
once they trust you. But it's all about that relationships that you have to have. And it's getting out and having conversations with people. And that's constantly what I keep saying. Just go have a conversation. I have sold houses standing in line at Starbucks. and a real quick story, if we have a second. Sure.
Yeah.
I was standing in Starbucks, and I had a gentleman, and I'll save his name, standing next to me, and I said, "Hi, how are you?" And he says, "Great." And I says, "My name's Kevin." And he told me his name. I said, "Great, what do you do?" And he told me what he did. He worked at Cal State. And what is the obvious thing that they're going to ask? Well, what do you do? Let me tell you. So I told him I was in real estate. I said, "Here's my card." By about that time, we got our coffee, and I said, "You have a great day. Call me if you ever need anything."
Yeah.
Well, about 2 weeks later, the gentleman called me
Oh.
and said, "Kevin, I'm already pre-approved. Would you go ahead and show me this house in the Vineyards?"
Oh,
And I'm
wow.
like, "Absolutely."
I like the vineyards.
No, I didn't sell him that house because he didn't care about that, but he did buy the second house the next day. I sold my house standing in line in Starbucks. And I've done the same thing in Vaughn's or at Winco
Wow.
or whatever.
Well, that sure
I
pays
turn-
for your
I
coffee
always
and
turn around
groceries.
and say, "Hi, how you doing? I'm Kevin. What do you do?" Have a conversation, find out about people. Don't be afraid to talk to people. And
Yeah.
that's what and then build on top of those relationships.
Well, thank you. Are you ready for the last thing we're going
Okay.
to throw at you? I know this is a bad transition.
This is
I'm working on my transitions here. Okay, the last thing we have, because I joked with Kevin yesterday
Oh, no.
that he always wears a tie. And he said, "Should I wear a tie?" And I said, "No, absolutely not."
I
So,
wear ties sometimes.
you do wear ties sometimes. So, you have 1 minute to teach me how to tie a
How to
tie.
tie a tie?
Wait. This is
Oh,
thanks to
good
my
one.
dad.
I do it differently than most people.
Okay, wait. We've got 1 minute on the clock.
Okay.
Can you want to hold this and press start? Ready? Go. Okay.
So I start it from inside out.
Inside
there.
out.
Okay. Big side on your right hand.
Okay.
Put it around your neck. Okay. Come with the little side over.
Over.
Okay. Now bring this here. Go up. Here.
Myself?
Are you ready?
Uh-huh.
And then take it going over here,
Oh.
like so. You got to go over.
Am I not going over?
No, you are. Like that. And then you bring it up.
I'm stuck in my own hair.
And then you tuck it in. Like so.
When do I tuck it?
Wait, what did you do here, Emily?
I tied a noose.
You got it here. There you go.
It worked. For you. Oh, do we still have time on the clock?
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Oh, my God.
Well, I'll give you this one as an example.
Thank you. You did a lovely job. Look at that, folks, right there. There we go. Now I have two.
There you have a tie.
And it works. And with that, I'll give you back to Michael.
The things we do on this show.
Oh, yeah. Live entertainment, right?
Well, and Visionaries, if you haven't checked out this week's episode of Small Business Celebration on the main show, it's with Jeremy Brown. He's absolutely talking about wine, property, and legacy. It's an episode you don't want to miss to help you grow a strong and profitable business and get you the great breakthrough that you need for your business. And we'll see you here again next week at 5:30 as we celebrate another small business making a big breakthrough.